What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back with yet another album review, and today we return to Finland and return to MELODEATH as I am talking about the 9th studio full-length from MORS Principium Est, Darkness Invisible. This also came out on September 26th, this time on Raining Phoenix Music, so we got double Raining Phoenix Music releases this weekend, which is pretty cool. But anyways, like I said, this is album number 9 from this band, and shock of all shocks, first time checking this band out. Of course, I've seen this name come up here and there in the comments, but I never got around to checking them out. But now that we got a new album, it was a good excuse to check this band out. So, for those who don't know, this is a Finnish melodic death metal band. However, judging from this album in particular, this almost sounds like an amalgamation of Finnish melodeath and the Gothenburg melodeath sound. Like, it sounds like it bridges both styles, whereas I always associate Finnish melodic death metal with like heavier riffs but with a more somber overtone. With Gothenburg, it's kind of like the more, dare I say, kind of thrash metal and like power metal inspired sounds, with some classic death metal thrown into the mix on both sides of the spectrum. But yeah, it definitely has an amalgamation of both scenes wrapped up into a Finnish band here. And, well, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the tracks. So, kicking off with the track Of Death, you have dark orchestral strings before you suddenly get into this like big sinister melody, and then it turns flat out vicious. Like, it's thrashy, very much in the vein of the Gothenburg style, but you get plenty of blast beats and even more like sinister riffs to kind of give it a little bit more of that death metal vibe as opposed to just melodeath. And it really got this album off on a more vicious, fast note. And it gets even faster with the following track, Venator, where it's just even faster, tremolo riffs, and also all in like a triplet rhythm and even some triplet chugs. Once again, showcasing that there is death metal within this style. And then moving into the track Monuments, where this is kind of where the moods start to change a little bit towards like having like balance between like dark, sinister riffs and like big, triumphant, soaring melodies. This song kind of goes for more of like the soaring atmosphere, like the melodies and the riffs kind of give it a little bit of, dare I say, a Winter Sun vibe, and that's not the only time I hear like a Winter Sun aspect on this album. And hell, even great harmonies on the guitars, which you get harmonies peppered in here and there to go along with the melody, but man, this track just really brought out the harmony in a big way, and even multiple leads, one that was like very shreddy and one that kind of has like a bit of a rock vibe to it. But then we go into Summoning the Dark. This one kind of goes back and forth between classic melodeath and, dare I say, a little bit of classic death metal. Like, you get like great melodeath riffing with the thrashy rhythms and blast beats, but man, out of nowhere you just get these like nasty, disgusting death metal tremolos and chug that, dare I say, kind of remind me of bands like Morbid Angel and maybe even a little bit of Deicide, but with that like more melodic tinge to it. But man, it's just downright evil sounding whenever it came through. Beyond the Horizon, you get big strings opening up before it suddenly does turn triumphant. And I kind of like how it shifts the mood here, especially like triumphant tremolo and blasts into like vicious thrashy riffs and rhythms. But then you get like those Winter Sun-esque guitars and keyboards coming in that almost give it a power metal vibe to an extent. But man, it's just filled with aggression and epic quality. The Rivers of Avernus, this one gets a little bit technical, like, dare I say, the most technical song on the album, because you get like more angular riffs but done with like a technical and, dare I say, even a little bit of like progressive. Like, there's a little bit of a prog vibe with some of the guitars on this track, but it's on top of a lumbering groove. In Sleep There Is Peace, it once again goes back to like feeling a little more vicious, a little more aggressive, a little bit more of a thrashy bite, with guitar harmonies and nasty tremolo. An Area of the Damned. This as well as the track Tenebrae, Latibra, whatever you say. Those were two like interlude songs, and while they sound pretty, I feel like they just kind of act as filler on the album, which I'll go ahead and say that was one of my few complaints I had about this album. But moving on to the end of the album, we get the longest track of the album, All Life is Evil. Man, and this one kind of goes all over the map. Like, it starts off with a big bass line, and then suddenly turns into like this atonal, like, doom riff and build, but you do eventually get like a chug rhythm with tremolo on top, and it even gets into like a real death metal lumbering groove, kind of like an evil bolt thrower a little bit. And then of course you get some female wails in the background before it leads perfectly into the guitar solo. And then the closer, which was a cover song, Moscow Mita Moscow, which apparently is a song written by a Finnish pop artist named Isaac Elliott, who I never heard of before, but it sounds like they just took a Finnish pop song and turned it into a Melodeath song, which is interesting, to say the very least. But honestly, I feel like that should have been in the middle of the album, and All Life is Evil should have been the closer. So yeah, those were my couple of complaints. The interludes kind of get too intrusive, and also I think All Life is Evil should have been in the closer. But I will say, too, I love the production on here. Jens Bogren did the mix on this, so it sounds big. It sounds rich. It sounds full. So, and as far as any other complaints I could muster up or nitpicks, really not much at all, honestly. I feel like for a Melodeath album, this kind of touches on the basis of what I do enjoy about Melodeath, mostly from the Finnish sound, with touches of the Gothenburg sound thrown in, but I also love that they were able to incorporate some more death metal moments here and there on a couple of these songs. So overall, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. I thought this was a very, very good offering, and I definitely need to go back and listen to some of their more seminal albums from the 2000s, but I would say if you are a fan of, I would say like Dark Tranquillity especially, but also Winter Sun, Insomnium, dare I say even At the Gates, check this out. This is some really good Melodeath. But of course, those are just my opinions. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. But until next time, thank you for watching, keep your horns high, and your dreams wet.